Sapo, the Success Scholar, Keisha me here. Thank you all for tuning in and listening in. Man, I wanted to do this piece. I just, had a rather epiphany. Just watching, how I've been certainly organizing in first and foremost, and of course in the Baltimore area and down throughout the DMV and the DC, Prince George's County area, of course. I like to refer to it as being a pan Marylander. So what I wanted to really take some time to reveal and expose some unique things that I've seen rather recently, and individuals gathering intel and sharing key insights with me, as well as when I engage with people, how what I perceive as more of various efforts to destabilize and really retard, African Americans, for instance, from becoming empowered and growing to our maximum potential. I've thought for myself, over time, for instance, how individuals could attempt to exclude my evolution from, as well as the work that I've done, certainly in the Baltimore area, as well as throughout, and certainly all throughout the East Coast, I'll say, and and the different low level, operations that different organizations have attempted. And so I'm really going to take a second to go in now, and I sometimes I stay back from different operations because I think that many of these different groups and individuals certainly simply do not have the intellectual bandwidth to truly organize and build a conscious, empowered movement towards true progress. And so, I've put out my opinions on different levels, different subjects, but um, I got there was some rather feedback, and I'm gonna talk about the Deray Mckisson, and I'm gonna speak about Darren Muhammad, as well as some of these other activists, different types of activists in the Baltimore area. This leaders of a beautiful struggle, for instance, this particular group. And sometimes I pay attention. I pay attention, and now I'm just kind of going to expose a little bit of all of that and connect these different dots. But um, rather recently, I posted something, about D-Ray Mckisson. Mckesson, for those who may not know, he got a position in the Baltimore area paying anywhere from, I think it was like 100,000, 110 something $1,000, without necessarily being in the Baltimore area. I'm sorry, not being from Baltimore. And that was quite peculiar to me, being not that I think that I or anyone else deserve particular positions, but that within itself was particular. So I recently, I saw D. Ray at the Congressional Black Caucus, and yes, I do attend the Congressional Black Caucus, for the workshops, and individuals, certainly those that are in the DMV area. You can go to the different workshops that I believe certainly could empower you and empower your community in terms of some of the different informed individuals that do workshops and panel discussions. And so I've been certainly been going for the past 8 years, and have gotten some very good intel. And this is one of the reasons why I can say with an affirmative that I'm in a very, very unique position. as a true leader, as a thought leader within, certainly within the DMV area. So now it's time for me to, raise the ante, because we cannot, for instance, allow for the destabilization, certainly of this country in a way, but even within our community. And I believe sincerely that I've discovered that there are persons, first and foremost, when I speak about the African American community, I've realized that we suffer various levels of oppression, and many of us do not necessarily overcome and heal, and we don't study different phenomena and different things that are going on within the community, different plots and plans to keep us disempowered and keep us as a consumer, as a renter, that keep us as an employee forever. So when I saw something recently, there was a conversation that went on in this group where some individuals attempted to label. They tried to make some connection about this activist Russian government accounts, and they somehow, for instance, someone attempted to connect that to attorney Mckisson, whom I've known, and he has no reason to try to take money from any so-called Russians or anyone else for that matter. He's certainly qualified and independent individual. He's not desperate for money. He comes from a decent family. He's not, struggling and have, alcohol, drug abuse issues where, he's desperate for money. He's not blowing money at clubs and tossing dollars up for people. So he's not addicted to these lifestyles that many of these so-called leaders create, to my knowledge. And that's what, if he did, I certainly would be aware of some of these things. So when I have, for instance, some liberal Caucasians in the Baltimore area attempting to connect him to the Russians, and several individuals attempted to, come out and, I don't know, discredit him. I mean, say he came in and did that. I'm like, look, well, he came in and did the flyer, all right, inappropriately put people on the flyers that didn't want to be on the flyer, or they thought that he shouldn't be on the flyer. I'm sorry, thought that he may have thought that they were with him like that. So, I mean, but that's not a reason to actually hate someone. But let me get to this first also. So a social media campaign calling itself Blacktivist and linked to the Russian government used both Facebook and Twitter in apparent attempt to amplify racial tensions during the U.S. presidential election. Two sources with knowledge of the matter told CNN. The Twitter account has been handed over to Congress. The Facebook account, which is expected to be handed over in coming days. Both activist accounts each refused to handle Blacktivists regularly share content intended to stoke outrage. Black people should wake up as soon as possible. One of the posts on Twitter account read, Black families are divided in mass destruction, just a few things. The Black activist account provided further evidence that Russian-linked social media accounts saw racial tensions as something to be exploited in order to achieve the broader Russia goal of dividing Americans and creating chaos in U.S. politics during a campaign in which race repeatedly became an issue. Okay, Russian brought back Lives Matter ad on Facebook targeted the Baltimore and Ferguson. This was the one. Let me click on that. And this is, I believe, Russian black brought, but and Malik, not even a Black Lives Matter activist, but let's get to that. Target Baltimore and Ferguson. At least one Russian ad brought in 2016 presidential campaign referred to Black Lives Matter and was specifically targeted to reach audiences in Ferguson, Missouri, and Baltimore. Sources of knowledge told her. Ferguson and Baltimore had gained widespread attention for large violent protests over police shootings of black men. The decision to target ads in these two cities offers a first look at how accounts linked to Russian government affiliated troll farm known as the Internal Research Agency to use geographically targeted advertising to sow political chaos in the United States, sources said. Okay. You all can Google that. You all can Google this ad. This is a CNN or Money Magazine. The Black Lives Matter ad appeared on Facebook at some point late in 2015 to the early 2016. Sources said it appears that the ad was meant to appear both as supporting Black Lives Matter, but also be seen as portraying the group as threatening to some residents in Baltimore and Ferguson. Okay, so okay. Now, I didn't recall reading through this article and seeing anything about Malik Zulu Shabazz, but I don't know why these different individuals brought that up. But again, I saw Deray Mckisson. I didn't say anything. I don't, I saw him a few times, and he continues to wear this blue blazer. But I'm just like, how you gonna wear that blue blazer everywhere and no one looks at you like you're crazy? Like who's backing you? Certainly, who's supporting you? And then you got tickets to the press. I'm sorry, the president's Democratic. I'm sorry, the press conference, not the press conference. The where all the press corps where they come every year and tell jokes. I can't recall the name. It was on a couple weeks ago, but and again he had on the blue blazer slash vest again. I'm like, so you show up like that at a black tie event and no one says anything. No one says anything about it. So I posted something about it that next week in Baltimore, for instance, we have this Work Baltimore initiative where I volunteered. See, I'm not like somebody, you know, hiding, ducking like some of these so-called activists out here. They not, leaders of the beautiful struggle. They wasn't there. When the mayor of Baltimore and several organizations within Baltimore put out a lot of information, a lot of intel. I'm sorry, promotion, shall I say, marketing. I mean, this was like a big thing, and this certainly could have quelled a lot of the violence in the city of Baltimore with individuals even potentially getting a job if they even thought that they would get a job. It would have diminished people's responses to violence, as well as people feeling like they have a choice. So, I applaud even the mayor for giving one of the Dr. Talley the leeway with making this like a big thing. This was really big. The flyers are all over Baltimore. The banners are all over Baltimore. And so I'm just like, I mean, you would think, for instance, that, these different radio programs, Morgan, I think I saw the other one. I saw the 1010 people there, but, every day there should have been something said about that. I mean, that should have been like, look, I mean, this is tip top for our communities, and not to suggest that a job per se is the best step, but some of these corporations, these are the individuals that can employ a large segment of the population. So why wouldn't you show up and encourage? And that's what I did. I was taking pictures there. I volunteered to do that. I was allowed to do that. And I'm just curious as to, you know, I didn't see, I don't know if D-Ray is still in, for instance, Baltimore, but, that would have been, you can't just get out here and say fight, fight, fight when people do not necessarily have jobs. So, so I wanted to address that. But the next issue I wanted to address, what did I say? This new Black identity extremism that I see. This Black identity extremism situation that I see going on. Uh, something to the effect that they let me read it. Let me see something. Let me find that. FBI warns a new black threat. New black threat. The Negroes are the FBI has declared that the black identity extremism is a violent threat to U.S. according to a leaked report. The document obtained by Foreign Policy is dated August 2017 and written by Domestic Terrorism Analysis Unit within the Bureau. It read FBI assesses it is very likely the black identity extremist BIE perceptions of police brutality against African American spurn an increase in premeditated retaliatory lethal violence against law enforcement and will very likely serve as justification for such violence. So, when I read things like this, it just makes me realize that, sometimes people don't feel that black people have control over their own communities, and they don't respect black men abilities to deal with issues and to transform themselves, to grow and clean up our own communities. And it's unfortunate, for instance, and I realize that we do have individuals with various mental health issues within our community, and some individuals desire to retaliate. Uh, if they are not necessarily agent provocateurs, some people have legitimate fear of various types of law enforcement, but as well as a fear that they need to protect themselves. But you also have individuals with mental health issues, and I'm thinking, on some levels, like I mentioned, the gentleman Darren Muhammad in Baltimore, who continues to mention, attempted to, talking about the Russian thing, and suggesting that, I am a part of that, as well as Malik, because he just threw myself in with that. And it's like, look, man, I mean, why would you, why you keep mentioning my name? Why you keep mentioning my name? I haven't mentioned your name publicly to anybody. Like I mentioned, for instance, I said there are some spooky people out here that are distracted. And this is where, my scholarship comes in. I'm a real institution builder, community builder, nation builder, a holistic healer. Huh? So I'm not coming with, spookyism and, trying to look between all kind of cracks and crevices. This is about us doing for ourselves. This is about us transforming ourselves and being, somebody, and claiming our personal responsibility to heal, to transform, and to be empowered. Huh? We're not going to be uh, independent, thinking, self-determining people talking about, spookism and all this weird stuff that individuals want to plot on. If you don't know something, if you don't know what to do, holler at the success scholar. That's why I say holler at the success scholar. I'm organizing with the right people, and that's where I had to expand, for instance, my network, because I saw, unfortunately, that many individuals, for instance, are not growing to their maximum potential. We're following the wrong leaders. We're not reading the right books, and we're being disconnected. We're being disconnected from each other, and I have to question, for instance, these individuals. So the reason that I went back, as one gentleman like to say, why if you think you're so big, why you gotta be in Baltimore business? Because I'm from there and my family still lives there, and I represent. So with that being said, I would not have said anything if I did not realize, or it was brought to my attention, for instance, that a brother referred to the young lady that was attempting to do the ceasefire initiative, and not that, I was out there ceasefiring, because I'm just like, for real, y'all playing. This is like serious. Like, you're talking about taking people's money. People are dependent upon people dying in Baltimore. People are waiting on organ parts. Individuals want the drug profits. People want the gun sales in the black community. So if you are not addressing all of these different issues and just talking about ceasefire, ceasefire, I want to hug you. I want to hug you. Just intellectual, type of immaturity in this global world that has declared that they're going to use black people as commodity. They're going to use black people to sell drugs and allow for Caucasians to come into the urban environments and sell these drugs and poison and dilute and destroy the urban environments with drug use and disenfranchisement and lack of investment, redlining, gerrymandering, all of these different forces, are coming to play. Lack of jobs, lack of opportunity, frustration, alcohol, poor food, alcohol boosts lead in the water. All of these issues, have a conglomerate effect, with creating self-destructive cigarette smoking, just poor life choices and chances, where individuals are really not maximizing their productive capacities. And so when we, as conscious, intelligent, healthy, empowered Black people want to do something, for instance, in our communities, we have to deal with these issues. I had a store on North in Pennsylvania. I know people are talking about doing it now, and I'm like, man, where were y'all at 15, 16, 17 years ago when I was right there, right in the heart, trying to build something, I mean, people were no show. So getting back to what I was saying about, I would not have said anything about Baltimore if the ceasefire group or the ceasefire uh, sister who I'm a Facebook friend with, if I did not see the post where the brother referred to her as a crippled whore. So this is one of Darren Muhammad's friends who he keeps calling his name, and these other people keep on calling his name, uh, Mr. David Anthony Wiggins, who in fact I don't know what his uh, I don't know what his analysis is, or what his not I'm sorry, not analysis. I don't know what his major malfunction is, but why would you refer to a Black woman as a crippled whore? Um, whether you agree because she has a disability, like that is like Donald Trumpish. That's like, really kind of low down even for you. Now, going back during the Freddie Gray case, this the same one that kicked the sister. So I'm just like, for Donald, David, and Darren, who are upholding this gentleman, like, how are you going to feel like you have any integrity or you have any ethics, you have any morals when you uphold someone that kicks women and calls to women as crippled whores, and I'll just also say, just going back into this black identity extremism thing, this guy runs around, and I didn't hear, I can't recall if I was there, but Darren mentioned it, that this guy's going to the meeting, coming up in the meetings, telling people to bomb a police station. So, like, really? So this is when Darren Muhammad and I had conversations, I mean, we were like tight. And so what I realized is that sometimes when you allow for, and I had to distance myself from these people. I'm a professional brother. Like, I can't be with no crazies, even if you are like considering self-defending yourself in some manner. Like, you're just gonna come in a meeting and just tell people like, oh yeah, this how bad I am. I'm gonna tell people. this is what we need to do. Like, really? You that gangster, huh? Even gangsters don't talk like that. Like, really? So gangsters don't talk about what you're gonna do to a police officer. I mean, really, like, and so I'm just saying, you all got to watch out, for these types of people. I mean, and I don't know, like, I thought that Darren was a little bit more upstanding. I thought these other folks, they talk about protecting our community, like, yeah, what we got to do, what we got to do. Like, you got to protect your community from their own. That's what you got to do first and foremost. The predators, within, our own community that are terrorizing black women. For instance, I just went to, so I saw a play, man. I had a busy weekend. I went to Bowie, I'm sorry, no, Coppin, this play called Suspects in America. Um, it was really, nice. It really was nice. But we got to deal with, these pathological behaviors, and none of these so-called black men that's pontificating in Baltimore, even after I, informed them that, this brother has called this sister a cripple whore. Like, none of the brothers, none of these Baltimore brothers, said anything. They just, I don't know if they thought that it was coming from me, since I think I'm somebody like, who you think you are, who you think you are. Why you gotta think that you can talk about somebody. So now you have, people who claiming, like David Johnson, claiming that he's righteous, like he lives by the Bible. Well, where in the Bible do it say call people cripple whores and to kick people and to kick black women? Where does it say that? Where does it say that, Brother Darren? Where does it say that, Donald? Where does it talk about, calling somebody a cripple whore? And you all continue to cover for this guy. You all, you cuddle him, So I'm saying all of y'all are guilty. You're just as guilty as, these other brothers that have allowed for, these black terrorists, these, I don't, and not even a black identity extremist. I mean, these are just gangsters, little thugs trying to bully individuals, the bigger Thomases of, our communities. And so now I know I could spend a lot of time talking about a lot of things, of course, but we got to think about protecting our own communities, of course. So I felt the need to spend some time on this because I mean, if yes, and I do believe sincerely that Russia could be engaged in some type of uh, in some types of behavior, as well as getting different people. But I would be looking for sure at this Deray Mckisson person. I would for sure, if you can throw me in the mix and say, I mean, I don't know what they're saying. I'm getting money from Russia. Hell, at least I would know what to do with it. At least I would know what to do with it. I won't waste it on those damn chicken boxes, like some of these folks do. I wouldn't waste it on going to the rib shop. I don't know what these folks eat and drink, or because I don't see them nowhere. I don't see them in any healthy, holistic places. I don't see them supporting black institutions, black businesses, and encouraging our people to support black institutions. They're not, attempting to build institutions, build businesses, and get the other, ethnic groups, and look like y'all not coming up in here making money, within our community. They spent all this time, and you Negroes in Baltimore, you giving them all your money, and they have not one time attempted. I was on Pennsylvania Avenue some years ago when I had the store. No, this was when I was working for the newspaper, Santel Winchester Viewpoint newspaper, where there was a Korean merchant. There was a Korean merchant selling green meat. And see, some of these people, they don't care. They don't care about black poor people. I ain't saying these guys. They just, they just off a little bit. They don't have their priorities. But I couldn't get none of these so-called activists. They'll show up for a lecture. They'll bring another lecture, and they'll bring, before Dr. Dick Gregory, and they'll bring Scott Whitaker in so he can, so they, I mean, I respect Scott Whitaker, but they'll bring somebody else. They'll bring Polite in to snatch up, tens of thousands of dollars and fly black and put some $1,000 pair of shoes on and a $1,500 belt and come on YouTube and brag, about about their shoes and belts. While you living in Baltimore in a hellhole, you going poor. Hmm? So this is the kind of pimping that's going on in Baltimore. This is the kind of activists that you have in Baltimore, and then you have these leaders of a beautiful struggle cats who they just wanted to go in. But I'm just like, dude, one of you, you showing up at a rally in front of children. I mean, like you 22, 23 years, 20. I mean, maybe they may be a little older. I'm sorry, they probably in their late 20s, early 30s. But like, dude, don't show up at. I mean, you too old to be smoking first and foremost. Smoking Black and Miles at that nasty, disgusting cigarette smoke that they poison young people in and buying K2, popping Mollies and cough syrup and Sprite soda, all this poison, you still under the control of our oppressors when you're taking poison into your body. Hmm? You're taking poison into your body, and then you're showing young people in front of the city, not city hall, the school board of education, you out there protesting with them, trying to get the algebra project and these other different little young groups to just be angry, just to stir them up. So I'm just like these different groups, and these people got money from the city of Baltimore. This one they sitting on top of G's, but they don't have the knowledge. They're not reading. They haven't studied Dr. Amos Wilson. I tried to school them when they were trying to debate me on Malik's Zulu Shabazz. I'm like, at least Malik reads. At least he will read. At least he will pick up a book. He not like running around. He's an attorney. He's not going to do everything that you can do. He can do different things, just different. But you don't have to try to destroy him. He corny like hell. There's many drug dealers and dope dealers and within our community, drive-by shooters. There are many black, not just black merchants, Arab merchants, Korean merchants, all these other bloodsuckers taking money out of our community. But you don't have no conception about this. You have no understanding. You just want to go City Hall. You just want to go to Annapolis, lead and show up at a rally. I mean let me tell you, I've been there, done that out there with some of this stuff, but you learn how to gauge. You learn how to gauge, and now that you have all of this intel coming in with this Russian black activist, this black identity extremism, this Deray Mckisson that comes in the town, get $100,000 job, like in the city of Baltimore, like who's behind all this? Who's behind all this? So I'm saying, I'm gonna raise this roof on this, and I didn't say anything ethical and illegal here, but like, look, we control our community. Black people control our community, not these intelligence agencies, not Russia, not uh, you know, uh, law enforcement or anybody. We control our communities, and this is where we're going to have to build. So I need real builders, real thinkers, real black men, who are honorable, ethical, decent, moral, healthy, holistic. Get into our communities and heal our people, teaching entrepreneurship, teaching personal self development, as well as how to leverage the power of the institutions that are within our community to transform ourselves. So we gotta, I mean, people want to debate me when I said something about poverty is a choice. I mean, I understand that people, born in certain situations. I mean, I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth, but I'm simply saying that I'm not gonna accept, defeat. I'm gonna, rise up. I'm gonna partner and collaborate and collectively work with other builders, other thinkers. We're not gonna waste and spend our money frivolously. We got to do what we got to do. So it's been a struggle. It's been a struggle, but I'm committed. I'm committed And this is where, you all need to pay attention. You all need to share, click, like, subscribe to my channel. You just need to share the books that I've been dropping. You need to get my book. You need to invite me to speak to your events, for sure, because I know what to do with the money. Once, we get money, we build things with it. And so what I'm saying, and I know that eventually, things will continue to grow, and how I'm positioned, I'll continue to prosper, because that's the mindset and how I create different opportunities. And 90% of success is showing up. Can you show up? Are you free enough to show up? Do you have a consciousness to show up at the right places? Are you reading the right books, showing up? You're getting the right mentors, the partners that want to, see you grow sincerely, down for your cause, right? So this is why we need true leaders, true thinkers, true conscious individuals, who are truly about our community, not just, one-dimensionally, talking about the yeah, we're gonna talk about the police, and we're gonna talk about the what's it called, the journey. I'm sorry, the what is it? What is it? I can't recall. I can't recall. I'll come back to that. But I was talking about that, what that guy always talking about. One-dimensional guy that, really won't study anything else. Talking about David Wiggins. He won't. He's not able to evolve into, a real solid brother that's making things happen. So, again, yeah, you all certainly should have supported that Work Baltimore initiative. I mean, like, for real, that was a powerful, pivotal opportunity, a catalyst opportunity that could have took uh, Baltimore in another direction. It would have, certainly it would have been nice if they would have had the success scholar to the table. But I already know, some folk, they clones, the powers that be in the establishment. I'm not in the establishment, and that's okay. Different individuals would like to keep me out of potential power, but I'm content. I'm happy with being free to be a thinker, to be a producer, to be a good civic citizen, and a conscious brother, a revolutionary, and revolution means evolution. And this is why, my team is going to win. You're not going to stop a true conscious movement that's growing, that's prospering. And I know that these different people, they're trying to, block me by calling me out on the radio programs. But, for real, the right people, are waking up. They're waking up because I'm giving knowledge. I'm giving people options. And, I've sold thousands of books over the years, and, individuals, that are in good mental health are going to wake up, and these are going to be the talented 10. Those individuals that have good, decent, holistic health, these are going to be the true leaders, the true builders that we, are going to need in the 21st century. And so I say, don't be pimped by, no Russian hackers or no Russian organizations, um, importing their propaganda to destabilize, our communities, and to, create these hostile tensions within the Black community. Uh, yes, there are certain situations that need to be addressed, but don't be a pawn. Don't be a pawn in this global game. Uh, be a king, be a queen. Don't allow for yourself to be used. Work for your own best interest. This is why we need to read the work of Dr. Amos Wilson. These Negroes, they won't tell you that. None of these jokers, Darren Muhammad, David Johnson, Donald Smith, and David F. A. Wiggins, they won't tell you that, because they're not centered. They're not centered on our people's causes. They rooted in, outside, of our community. They haven't focused enough of their studies to study the real intelligentsia of those of us who have laid a strong foundation within our community. And so a few weeks ago when I spoke with Dr. Cornel West was there, Brother Malik Zulu Shabazz, we had the rally that we're going to have the 10,000. That was the launch for the 10,000 person rally. So we definitely going to come back to that, but had a good little set, good little panel discussion with some strong group of brothers that were present for that. And so progress is being made on every levels. Stay tuned in, holla at the Success Scholar, and keep it right here tuned in. I'm out, y'all. Peace.